Ciao, sono Sara Z da La La Land. Incontrerò grandi ospiti provenienti da ogni parte del mondo. Vi sorprenderanno condividendo la loro storia, ma tratteremo anche svariati argomenti. Le storie raccontate spezzano le barriere. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm Sara Z from Los Angeles. Today, my guest is Katie Duncan. Ciao, Katie Duncan. Is it correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Hi,
Okay,
Sarah.
perfect. Hello, welcome to Hollywood. Where are you right now? In which city are you?
I am in Maryland, so I'm directly east of you.
Perfect. 3 hours different,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So you are, Katie, you're a certified death doula, but I found another synonym for death doula, which is end of life doula. I don't know
Yes.
which one is better. You're going to tell me later. And you're helping people to gain more comfort and peace, um, in peace of mind in order to create a more meaningful end of life experience. I want to tell you how I found out because I didn't know a death doula would exist, but I listened to an interview with the director Chloe Zhao, and she's training to
Mhm.
become a death doula. And so I was like, wait, death doula? Who's a death doula? So I did my research, and here we go. I found you as one of the best death doula on social media. So that's why I wanted to find out so much more about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for finding me and bringing me on. Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited to share about my journey, my experience, what sort of my niche is as an end of life doula or end of life coach, end of life practitioner. There's so many names, like you just said, death doula, death
Which
coach.
one is better? Which one would be better?
I don't want to say that there is a better or a worse. I would say that death doula is the term that has really taken off in the media. And so we're seeing that name used more so, across media. But I think so the National End of Life Doula Alliance, they are a nonprofit organization that helps to create basically the scope of practice for us as end of life practitioners, end of life doulas. And they refer to us as end of life doulas and use that term because it really encompasses the whole scope, not just death itself, but it encompasses the whole scope of end of life. So everyone, who chooses to be an end of life doula or who trains and practices as an end of life doula gets to choose the name that most suits them.
I understand. Okay. So for you is better end of life or
Yeah.
end of
I,
life
I
doula?
prefer,
It is better for you. It
yeah.
suits you better for what you do.
Yeah.
And another reason why I wanted to talk to you is because I am personally scared of death, of dying,
Mm.
because the unknown, we don't know what's on the other side. And what about you? What's your experience or relation with death?
Yeah.
And if there was any specific moment who took you on this journey and made you decide to become an end of life doula.
Yeah. Yeah, great question. I think I'll actually start with the first part and then get to the second part. I my background actually prior to becoming an end-of-life doula, I I was a nurse. So I was a nurse for many years and then I actually went back to school and now I'm a advanced practice nurse practitioner. And for many years I went basically from the ICU working in the hospital to and I actually switched to home hospice. So I worked in the clinical world, and actually still do in hospice for a long period of time. And what made me make the switch from my clinical practice to this non-clinical role was when my grandfather was dying. He was really a pretty healthy 90-year-old, and he suddenly got really sick. He had an infection. He went to the hospital, and it was just one of those situations where his body was just too far gone. There were too many things that were happening, and everyone kept trying to fix, 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 and his body just kept declining. And so we ended up bringing him home on hospice. And when we brought him home on hospice, we experienced, unfortunately, I think what a lot of families experience, where we really didn't have a lot of support from our hospice team. We saw the hospice nurse maybe twice. I think we saw the social worker and the chaplain. I think the day before he died. So, we just there wasn't a lot of support
Mhm.
from my family. And so I sort of, had this clinical view of what we did from the medical side and the clinical side for our, for patients that we were caring for and their families, who were dying. Um, but then I got to experience on the family side, and I felt that huge gap that we were missing. And so I wanted to find a way to fill that gap.
Did you feel like you were talking about a social worker? So the social workers were there. I thought maybe the social worker could kind of take over that type of end of life experience job as a death doula, but instead are two different categories. So what does a death doula does? What do you do as an end of life doula?
That's a great question. So as an end of life doula, we are non-medical, so non-clinical
Mhm.
support people. We are companions. We provide holistic support for the dying person and their family, or whoever they call family, whoever that might be. So emotional support, spiritual support, practical support, physical support in some ways. And I think a big piece of what I do when I'm working with clients, again, everyone sort of has their sort of niche, their specialty, but I think my specialty is helping my clients, whether it's the dying person or their family or both, helping them advocate for what they really want and what they need. Um, Helping to educate the family on what to expect. And sometimes it's educating the dying person as well, because they want to know too what to expect, what's coming. I help them find resources. I'm like a resource person for them. And I think really just, again, that added layer of emotional support, just being able to sit there and listen to everything that they're experiencing. So that's what I do specifically, but that's also a sort of a bigger picture of what we can do as end of life doulas.
Yeah, so when the person is leaving this planet, Earth, are you there with them, or you just take them on a journey, but when the person is close to that moment, you're not part of that journey, or you
Yeah,
are? Are you with them? Are you with them near their
yeah, great
bed?
question. So,
Like,
so it depends. Yeah, it depends on my client. So sometimes I have clients who are out of state. So I'll work with people virtually, families virtually. And in those cases, I'm not usually present physically. Occasionally I will be with them via phone call or FaceTime during that actively dying phase. If I have clients locally, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. It just kind of depends on the relationship I have with that family, what they're looking for, what kind of support they wanted, or my client who is dying. So yes, sometimes I'm there at the bedside when they're actively dying and taking those last breaths. Sometimes I'm not.
but it sounds like very, very interesting. And another question, I can you get into the details of the training process? If I
Oh
would
yeah.
like to become, yeah, a deaf doula, or another person, our audience would like to go through that. What's the training process like from A to
Yeah.
Z of this journey?
Yeah. Yeah. There are, so as end of life doulas, we are not regulated by any sort of overseeing body. And so there is no mandatory certification, no mandatory course, no mandatory test that anyone has to take. But
Mhm.
At the same time, it is so important for people to have training before they go into a space like this. When someone is dying, it is the most intimate, vulnerable, can be scary time for that person and that family. But it's also a really beautiful time. And it's really important to know
Mhm.
um, how we, as end of life doulas, practice, what is within our scope of practice, what is appropriate for us to be saying and doing and supporting, and what is not appropriate, what is out of our scope, and when we need to, when this family might need additional support, maybe from a hospice team member or someone else. And really knowing um, what is normal, what is expected, what is not normal and expected.
For example, Katie, like what do you
Yeah.
mean by that? Yeah, like
So yeah,
it,
I will give you an example of I'll give you an example of actually a situation that I heard it. I wasn't involved in this situation, but this is a really important example, I think, of where an end of life doula needs this training so that they don't say something that is potentially dangerous for this client. So, for example, I have a friend who works as a clinical team member on a hospice team, and she was supporting a family who also had an end of life doula that they were working with.
Mhm.
And the dying person was not able to swallow anymore, and there was a very, very, very high risk that they were going to choke and aspirate, meaning that they could get basically contents, food, liquid into their lungs
Yes.
and have a serious event, and potentially even a faster death because of it.
Mhm.
So the hospice team had made recommendations for this client, and the doctor had made recommendations that this client really shouldn't be eating anymore or drinking anymore. That
Mhm.
we should be trying to make this person eat or drink. And the end of life doula in this particular situation was actually encouraging that, was encouraging the opposite, was encouraging this client to eat
And
and drink
to
without
eat and
understanding.
drink
Yes,
when
without
all the muscle, the throat muscle weren't working. So
yes.
yeah, that's and what happened? Like,
So I don't know what happened in the end, but I do know that the hospice team ended up finding out and approaching this end of life doula and sharing their concerns. And I think trying to educate this doula as well. So again, I think it's just, we if you are going into this without any training at all, there are a lot of risks that you may unintentionally pose to your client, whoever your client is, whether
correct.
that's the dying person or the family. So, yeah, this
If
is, go ahead.
no, no, sorry. I all the questions
Yeah,
are coming out.
this is a
What's the
specialty, to know
yeah?
about the dying process, to know the normal process, the normal shutting down process, what's expected, what isn't, and where the line is of, what is clinical and what is not. It's so important that people find the right training. And there are so many trainings out there. Some are 3 days, some are over a weekend, some are over a week. I actually have a training myself. I have it's an 11-week, really comprehensive training. And we offer also during those 11 weeks live calls along with that. So we can go over case studies like this. So
And it's all online, correct?
it's
It's
all
online with
online.
you.
Yeah. So I have, it's amazing. We have people from all over the world, as far as Australia, all the way over to here. It's, America, South America, Canada. We have Europe. We have the
Europe
UK.
as well? Okay. Ever
Yes.
have you ever had Italy, for example?
No, no, we haven't had anyone from Italy yet. We've had
Okay.
Romania, Germany, Netherlands, France. Let's see. We've had a couple people from Africa as well, not Europe, but
Yeah.
yeah, we have people from
See,
all over
so
the
many.
world. Hmm.
And you already talked about it, like that the most important part is really knowing how to address
Yeah.
the needs of the client. And talking about this, like, is the client does the client agree of having an end of life doula, or is just the family? I mean,
Yeah.
does the client, the person who's passing away, need to know
Mhm.
that he will have a death doula, or not necessarily? Like, do they tell him before he's the one deciding, he's the one who wants a death doula, or it's more for the family?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. So it depends. There are times where I have worked with someone who is dying. They have a terminal illness, they're on hospice, or they might not be quite on hospice. Maybe they're sort of right before that stage, but they know that they're headed that way and they are looking for support. So sometimes I'm working directly with the dying person, and sometimes I am working directly with their family. Perhaps maybe the dying person is actively dying and they can't participate in sort of the support that I'm providing. Or it might be that the family hires me to also be a companion for someone with, let's say, like end stage dementia, any form of end stage dementia. So even though they don't fully understand who I am, there's still an opportunity for me to provide that companionship and support for them. Does that make sense?
But yeah, yes, yes. I mean, a lot of information. It's like if I'm
Yeah.
having a training with you right now. I'm training online to become just 10 minutes to become a doctor. No, I'm not there yet, but in regard of your experience with your grandfather,
Mm.
father dying, what's your relationship with grief and
Mm.
and death? Are you scared of death, of dying?
Yeah, sorry, we I guess we kind of skipped
I
over
am,
that
I am, I am,
earlier.
I am, but
Yeah, here's how I feel about death. I personally, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the dying process, and I'm not afraid of death itself, and I'm not afraid of what may or may not be beyond, what may or may not happen beyond that. I think that comes from a couple of things. Number one, I think I've been with so many dying people over the last,
yeah,
I don't know, 15, 16 years. And when you are with people in those moments, when you are with people and experience and are able to observe and witness their dying process, um, it's incredible. It is, the body knows exactly what to do. The body is shutting down all on its own, just like the body knows what to do when we're coming into this world. And so there are so many different protective mechanisms that our bodies have to protect us from any sort of suffering or distress. And if
mhm.
our disease impacts that, impacts our
Right, that
distress,
was my next
there are
question.
ways
Like, if,
to
for
support.
example, the person that couldn't swallow,
Yeah.
like that's like out of breath. You can be out of breath and you feel it. That that's
So some people
is
are
that
out of
like,
breath. I'll tell you, I was just with someone
mhm,
who died just a couple of days ago, and I sat with him and I asked him, and he was actually able to, he was awake. He was sort of in and out of sort of like lucidity. He was sort of in and out of consciousness.
mhm.
And but he was able to say, I'm comfortable. I'm good. He looked a little short of breath, and I asked, "Are you breathing okay? Are you having shortness of breath?" He said, "No." I said, "Okay, can I get you anything?" "No, I'm good."
Yeah, oh,
It was like it's pretty amazing. And so when you see this, when you see that the dying process is this natural human process that is not painful or distressing. And if people are experiencing pain, there's so many things, or shortness of breath, there's so many things that we
mhm.
can do to help them. But those last breaths, I mean, it is just this profound experience of like witnessing someone going from here in this living world to wherever or whatever might be beyond. And it's incredible. And people, see their not everybody, but so many people see their loved ones who have already died before them, and they they know it's going to be okay. I mean, it's really
Mm.
quite an incredible experience.
Yeah,
And so that
it
doesn't make me scared.
Okay, so that makes sense because you witness a lot of death, and I'm sure you know how to detach yourself. I don't know if you
Mhm.
do something to detach yourself, or you don't have to do that anymore. Like when you witness someone and you see so many people passing away,
Mhm.
um, does their death stay with you? Like literal, like, or you are able, because I know it's your business. It's like a doctor who
Mhm.
for surgery and the surgery doesn't do well and
Mhm.
they might grieve, but then they move on because
Mhm.
it's their business, it's their job. But of course, there has to be like humanity, and you put your heart into it.
Mhm.
So, and I'm sure the unknown, that's what is scary. I didn't witness something like that. I never seen someone passing away the way you did.
Mhm.
And so that's why for me, that part is like, how is it going to be? But it's like everything in life. Well, we don't know, even like as simple as changing a job. I'm going to start a new job. Oh my God, when I'm going, oh, it's going to be tough because like even when I left Italy and I came to the US
Mhm.
for work, it was like, oh no, how is it going to be? Like, can I do that? And then when you do it, you are in,
Mhm.
you see that it's our mind projecting so much and make it so much bigger because it's the unknown. But then when you start, we adapt. And
Yeah.
it isn't as bad as it was in our mind. Like I
Mhm.
know this is it's an example that doesn't kind of relate to death, but kind of the same principle. I mean, and
I know what you mean.
it,
It's when you don't know what to
when
expect, or and there's all of this unknown, we can project. We can come up with all of these things that may or may not happen and how we're going to experience it. And it's like
correct.
there's a fear part of it. There's an anxiety part of it. And I think when you realize that it's this is that what you're seeing and what you're seeing in a loved one, for example, is totally normal. And that, the body is going through this normal change. Um,
Oh, yeah.
it, there's less fear around it.
Mhm. I understand. Now that I'm talking to you, I'm kind of getting and feeling a little bit better about it. I mean,
Mm,
I've been so scared, and I still am, but what you're saying is actually opening my beliefs about death that we think is something like further away. Hopefully, it is further away, but something that it's the only truth that all of us knows. You know, we are born, we live, and then we die, all of us. And so, of course, like my example from before is like, yeah, you change the job, but then you're alive and you adapt. But in this case, like you adapt to the end on Earth. But to wrap it up, Katie, what can we? I'm not asking you to give me like a training, a real training, what you would probably teach, but something we can say to
mm,
the person who's passing um, to make the passage
mm,
and walking on the other side of the bridge better.
mm.
Something we can say to the person who's passing and to the family. Like maybe only one sentence or one phrase that you usually tell your clients who wants to go through this journey. Is there
Yeah.
a little um,
Yeah.
phrase or sentence or
So something that I like to say to my if my client is dying, something I like to say is that it's okay. It's okay to let go. You did an amazing job, and there is nothing left for you to do. You can go now. Everyone's going to be okay. Um,
um,
and that's actually something that I also share with or encourage families to do as well, is to give their loved one that permission to die. Because so many times people will, it's really pretty interesting. People will find a way. You think that people can't control their death, but in all of my experiences, I think that people can to at least some degree, that they will wait for someone to say it's okay to go, or they will wait for that last family member to call or to arrive to say goodbye, or they will wait for the new baby to be born, or whatever it is. Sometimes people have these amazing moments that they wait for, and when they
But
have that permission, that finality, they can let go.
Katie, what you just said is what I always thought, that some people, I mean, it's a very complicated discussion and not so easy um, to talk about it. But I'm thinking about my grandma. She's 101,
Mm, wow.
101 years old, and sometimes when I talk to my mom said, she doesn't want to go.
Mm,
She loves life, and she
mm,
likes to be here and see her uh,
mhm.
daughter, which is my mom. But at the same time, like so many people are leaving and passing away, and then they say, "Oh, we love life so much."
Mm,
So it makes me think, like, why if they love life so much, why they've been taken away so soon?
mm,
So there's this dichotomy of those thoughts.
mm.
Uh, but what you're saying, I think some people are grasping, so much life, and then when you say that sentence, and actually, I heard on an interview, someone in Italy, this she was a public figure and she passed, and the daughter gave an interview, and that's what she said. I had to tell my mom, you can go now.
Yeah,
I just listened to that like last week,
yeah.
and so it resonates now
Mm.
what you're saying, and that's what I always thought too. I don't know if it's true for everyone, but maybe that happens only when they are leaving and not during the illness. Because some people are
Yeah,
fighting so much, Katie, but then they still die. And yeah, so
yeah. I think it, everyone's experience of dying and everyone's experience of coming to that place of, I wouldn't say that every single person I've been with has accepted their death.
mm,
A lot of people don't want to die, but also a lot of people do come to that acceptance of like, I don't want to die, but I am dying. And so this is, I'm at this place. Um, and
mm,
I, I um I was just thinking about your this interview and the story about your grandmother, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, so many times when I'm with people who are dying, they tend to worry about their family more than anything else. They worry about their loved
mm,
ones. Like, are their loved ones going to be okay? Because they've kind of come to, most people, again, I'm
mhm.
not going to say all, but most people kind of come to this place of somewhat of acceptance. And so they just worry that everyone else is going to be okay. And so
Is-
hearing
okay.
those things from their loved ones is, I think, the thing that kind of helps set them free.
You're
Give,
saying like to make sure people are gonna be okay when they pass.
yeah,
You
yeah,
want to make
it's
sure that. Yeah,
mhm.
I think for my grandma it could be that it is definitely. Also, I feel she really loves life. And and
Yeah,
and she's not doing much because now she cannot even walk. I mean, her mind is pretty sharp still.
yeah, yeah.
She went through a few things, and my mom kept saying she should have been gone already because she went through a breast cancer when she
Oh
was
wow.
65, was in
Mm,
her 70s. Then she had last year her heart, she couldn't breathe. She was out of breath because her heart wasn't
okay.
functioning well. Then at like when she was 97, the hip, she fell, so surgery to the hip.
Yeah,
So that's why my mom's saying, like other people, probably she would have been, ready to
yeah,
go. But she
yeah,
doesn't, my mom, she doesn't want to die.
yeah,
she sounds very cold, my mom, but it's her way of coping with
Of course.
the reality.
Yeah, as we all do. Yep.
So yeah,
We all find our
right. And
ways.
more we get older, and more the thinking of our the end is it's more vivid. Like I mean, I've always been pretty sensitive about this when I was younger too, but anyways, it's so interesting, Katie. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So I love how we wrap it up, like let it go, saying to our loved ones, let it go, and to the family, let him or let her go, let they go. It's very pivotal and important. Grazie mille, Katie.
Sarah, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Yeah, thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
And Sara Z, Katie Duncan. Bye. Ciao.